As we are the holders of the earth, our actions will either destroy the planet or preserve it and all its inhabitants for future generations to come. Hello, my name is Joseph Church, and the topic that I chose to research is deforestation. For my topic, I came up with a research question: how can the effects of deforestation on the environment be combated? So let's begin with why this is important. It is important to understand because the decisions made around deforestation can spell the future of our planet. If the current destructive cycles of deforestation are continued, there may not be wildlife to observe or even a world for our future generations to grow up upon, which is why all aspects of deforestation need to be examined carefully. So let's first begin with the central causes. The main cause of deforestation worldwide is the conversion of forestry to farmland. As the population grows, more land for livestock is required, which oftentimes calls for the removal of entire forests. But solely just the removal of forests is not deforestation. Deforestation actually occurs when no destroyed plant life is replanted, which is essentially what happens when forest is removed for farmland, for crops, cattle, etc. And as shown in this image, this takes up roughly 75% of overall deforestation. The second leading cause of deforestation is commercial logging or clear logging. Oftentimes, some part of housing is made with wood, which requires the removal of some trees. But on larger scale housing operations, it oftentimes calls for the removal of entire forests or just large sectors. This is mainly due to the fact that wood has a variety of uses, from being used as structural support to being used as a sort of fuel. But these two uses, along with many others, make countries around the world want lumber or wood in large amounts, thus requiring the removal of entire forests or large sectors. And finally, the last cause that ties to both the previous causes, and is also the reason for them both, is simply population growth. In Margaret Thatcher's speech to the United Nations General Assembly, she states that the main threat to our environment is more and more people and their activities. She highlights that the growing population is the reason why deforestation is considered a necessity. As the population grows, more and more space is needed to accommodate for that growth, therefore requiring mass clearing of land to provide for that space, which can be extremely hurtful to the surrounding environment, as it causes soil erosion, habitat loss, etc. Which brings me into the leading effects and most dangerous effects of deforestation. The most disastrous effect that deforestation has on the environment is global warming or climate change. As trees absorb carbon dioxide and convert it to usable oxygen, when loggers cut down these forests, they essentially stop the trees from absorbing that carbon dioxide, which, whenever the carbon dioxide is in the atmosphere, it creates a coating around the Earth's atmosphere. This coating allows for heat waves from the sun to come in, but does not allow for that heat to escape, therefore causing global warming. This itself is a major hazard to the world due to the fact that it's causing polar ice caps to thin or even melt, which is highlighted in Margaret Thatcher's speech to the United Nations General Assembly. However, according to NASA's global climate change, this is not the only effect. It is also causing increased droughts and heat waves, stronger and more intense hurricanes, and sea levels to rise, posing major threats to the many coastal cities around the world. But this is only one effect. The other effect that deforestation has is a decrease in biodiversity. Biodiversity refers to the variety and variability of life on Earth, which includes all animals and plant life. But with the destruction of ecosystems that deforestation brings, biodiversity is being decreased drastically, as many organisms worldwide are losing their homes, with some even going extinct. Without animals and plant life, there's no diversity among the planet, as well as no ecosystems for our future generations to observe. This image shows that some of the animals that have either gone endangered or extinct as a result of human activity. But this is only a few. One noted conservation scientist, David Wilco, estimates there are 14,000 to 35,000 endangered species in the United States alone. Now just picture this number on a world scale. It is likely to be close to millions. But despite all the negative effects that deforestation has, some argue that deforestation is a good thing as long as it is regulated. The supporters state that deforestation is necessary for the ever-growing population, which is supported statistically by the information within the stimulus article, The Urban Transformation of the Developing World. This article includes that by 2030, the total urban population will increase to 3.9 billion, which requires the growth of our current urban cities. And how we'll want to acquire the space to grow these cities by removing the surrounding forestry. That's where the argument of deforestation supporters come from. That is necessary for the ever-growing population. However, all sides agree that some sort of action needs to be taken to limit the horrible and dangerous effects that deforestation has on the environment. That is why environmentalists around the world have come together to form solutions to combat deforestation's harsh effects. The main and most prominent solution that these scientists have publicly supported is mass regulation or limitation of deforestation. These new regulations would require that each nation implements new laws that restricts the amount of logging each year in their nation. This would effectively slow the progress of global warming, as well as slow the current major decrease in biodiversity worldwide. This limiting is the only way that both supporters and critics of deforestation will be happy, as it allows for more space to be created, while at the same time slowing the disastrous effects of deforestation. The slowing certainly has promising results, as basically anything that will decrease the current rapid development of global warming should be implemented immediately and will be helpful. But as with every solution, there are certainly limitations. As deforestation is still occurring, although limited, it is still contributing to global warming. Some scientists argue that this, however, is inevitable no matter what occurs, but it's still in the human race's best interest to implement any laws immediately. That way we can slow down the current development of global warming. So, overall, all sides can agree that something must be done to limit deforestation, or else our world and all of its inhabitants may not last much longer. Thank you.
All right. How did you select the strategies you used to gather information or to conduct your research, and were they effective?
So I decided to mainly focus on the broader aspect of deforestation as opposed to looking at individual scenarios. Like I could have focused on how exactly it's affecting North Carolina, Asheboro, or Randolph County, but instead I looked towards more how is it affecting the world on a larger scale.
If you had more time, what additional research would you conduct related to your issue?
I would conduct more research on the more effects and also the more causes that it has. I listed the major and most disastrous effects that it has, but deforestation has many effects on your local environments and your surrounding habitats.
All right, thanks.